Orchha, India. This is a place that I have had on my India bucket list for quite some time now. I've heard great things about this place, and although it's a little bit out of the way, I deliberately planned my trip here in India to include this specific town because I've heard great things about it. Now, we've just arrived literally into this town just a few hours ago after an overnight train from Lucknow, and I am exhausted. But that doesn't mean we're not going to stop adventuring, and that doesn't mean that we're going to just chill for the entire day. We're going to go ahead and we're going to explore the city. Instead of just going around and finding sort of the big main temples and the main palaces here, what we're going to do today is we're going to be focusing on the free things that you can do in Orchha. What are the things that don't require a ticket? What are the things that you can actually see without paying a single rupee? So with that, let's go ahead and let's get started with our exploration here in Orchha, India. Welcome to one of the most interesting and free things to do here in Orchha. This right here is the market area, and this market is not a fresh market. This is a very religious icon market. They're selling necklaces, bracelets, brass, bangles, lots and lots of bangles. There's just so many things being sold, and they're so colorful. I mean, look at a store like this, look how colorful the bangles are. And I know I've been to a lot of Indian cities where they've been selling bangles and all of that, but I've never had it where it's so rustic. Literally, look at the top. This is literally just I don't know, a tarp that's just covering all of this. Usually in other places it's bangles in a nice store or something like that, but here it's literally a makeshift market that happens every day. It's very packed, it's very crowded, people are rushing by me very, very quickly, but that's the vibe of Orchha so far. It seems very fast. It's a small town, so it's not a massive market compared to the other markets we've had here in India, but there's still quite a lot of people considering this is a very, very small town. And wow, I'm liking the feel of it. I'm liking the city so far. What I love about Orchha is that as you're walking through the city, just in the market, and you look up, you get a view that looks something like that. This a massive, centuries-old structure that is honestly pretty impressive. You can view anywhere from the city. It just makes the city so much more interesting, so much more historic, and just much more scenic compared to other cities that I've been to. Now we've just crossed the river, I think it's called the Betwa River, to this side of Orchha, which is where the main fort and mahals and those massive, massive structures are located. However, those all require an entrance ticket, and that we're going to do in the later video, because one ticket rules all of the actual places, but it only works for one day. So we can't really buy one today and hope that it works tomorrow as well. However, on this side of the river, there are also other things to do as well that speak to the history of certain places that add and complement to the actual fort itself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna explore some of these places, we're gonna explore some of these historical sites, and we're gonna learn a little bit more about Orchha and why this massive fort was built right behind me. Welcome to this completely abandoned structure here in Orchha. This is Shiaam Dam ki Koti. I think that is how you say it. Now, this was a structure built by the Maharaja Veer Singh after he felt guilty about one of his really, really trusted officials committing suicide. So, for that official's pregnant daughter-in-law, he built this entire place for her. Now, obviously, this has really fallen into disrepair. I mean, you can see the plants that have grown all over the place, but you can imagine when the Maharaja had ordered this to be built, how beautiful it would have been. The courtyard would have been absolutely impressive, and you can still see the signs of the architecture here. I mean, yes, sure, there may be some cracks there, but this was the wealth of Maharajas living here in Orchha. Orchha was by itself another kingdom that had its own rules, its own independence, and sure, it came under the control of the Mughal Empire for a bit, but that didn't compromise on the wealth and the power of this organization, of the empire here in Orchha. It really is impressive that when the king ordered, let's build this one thing, this was immediately built. It just really speaks to the power of the Maharajas back in the day. I don't know who the last person was to stand in the place that I'm standing right now, but after climbing those steps, I feel like I'm literally in an adventure movie. This is surreal that I can actually explore this place, and like you can see how overgrown this entire area is. It's impressive. It's just wow. It almost gives me like the feels of Bagan with all those abandoned temples in Myanmar. That's kind of what it's reminding me of. Alright, right next to the koti we visited earlier is this koti here. Koti I think refers to like a little house or a building, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. But this building right here is Rasaldar Ki Koti. Rasaldar Ki Koti refers to the head of the stable. So the castle, as you can see, the fort is right over there, but when the king needs his horses, he needs them close by. So the head of the stables had to live pretty close. This is the house of the head of the stables. They'll be in charge of having the horses, and you can actually see this part over there has sort of been fallen down and sort of been ruined. But this is where a lot of the horses and I think the stables would have been managed and held by the head of the stables. Now, I'm not going to go all the way inside just because I don't really see a path in. Right now, there's a lot of grass and I'm not willing to risk it. There's also a cow over there. So I'm just going to stay on the outside here, but you can tell it's a 2-story building that was constructed hundreds of years ago just for the head of a stable. So if you think about how much money and how much power the king had just to build this for the head of stables, I mean, you can imagine how much they had for themselves. Crazy building, crazy impressive. It looks absolutely beautiful, but one of the many structures we're going to explore around the city of Orchha today. That has got to be the shiniest bug that I've ever seen. It literally looks like it's created by AI, but it is actually real. That is crazy that there's such a shiny bug here in India. Now, I literally just found this random path and we followed it. I mean, first off, this path gives you a view like this. That is a crazy view to have. But we're just walking along here and like, I don't know where this path takes me. It's like taking me to this. This is the actual endpoint of the path. Huh. I guess not all paths lead to a pot of gold at the end, but this is kind of disappointing. That is literally the end of the path. All right, time to head back onto the main road then. Next abandoned building we are exploring here in Orchha is a place known as the Rai Praveen Mahal. And the story behind this one is a very interesting one. Now the prince here in Orchha, Indrajit Singh, built this massive structure for a woman called Rai Praveen, hence the name Rai Praveen Mahal. Now who is Rai Praveen? She was a poet, she was a singer, she was a court dancer, and her beauty was apparently said to have been spread all across the world, all across India. Everybody was like so sort of enchanted by her. In fact, she was so beautiful and so impressive and so talented that when she was invited to see the Mughal Emperor Akbar, remember we talked about Akbar when we went to Agra, well Akbar was so impressed by her that when he sent her back to Orchha, he gave her like a bunch of awards and honors and everything, which is why they then built this massive structure. This wasn't built by the Maharaja here, it was actually built by the prince at the time, Indrajit Singh. This is a 3-floored building. It's not very common here in India, especially for a normal civilian or a normal court dancer to have a 3-floor building. That is not common, but the inside is absolutely spectacular. It is beautiful, and what's even more impressive is that behind this is a massive series of gardens that all belonged to this mahal. It is one of the architectural wonders, I think, of Orchha, because not everybody had even a 2-floor building, much less a 3-floor building. What we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go climb up into this building, and we're gonna see all the different sort of nooks and crannies of this beautiful mahal. I do have to say, for the most beautiful court dancer in all of India, this 2nd floor is looking pretty shabby. First off, it is extremely short. I mean, I'm literally about to hit it right here. But maybe it's just the fact that they haven't preserved it well, because there's so much trash around here. But I would not like to live here. You can see right there, that is the garden that all belongs to the mahal. Today, I don't think it's actually as much used as a garden anymore. There are a few trees that are still planted, but times sure have changed, and I don't know. This place seems really, really run down. They should really do a better job of preserving this place. I am too tall for this building. I would not want the Maharaja or the Prince or anyone to build me such a short building. I need taller ceilings. Out of all the buildings we're probably going to visit today, this might be the best preserved building. This is Betwa River. I think I'm saying that right, but if I'm saying it wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments below. This used to be the house of Pravin Mahal, I think that's what his name was. He was one of the most important government ministers to the Maharaja here in Orchha, hence his house being so close to the fort and the palace. In fact, what I read is just that everyone who has the houses here are either like higher nobility or like very, very important to the king. So for example, the stable house earlier. The stable house was built within the fortress because it was so important that, you know, the stables were there. This is the minister's palace. So important because the minister had to go and attend to any issues that needed to be solved by the king. So that's why they have this massive, massive palace in here. One of the best things about it is that it is one of the best preserved buildings. I mean, you can see the details, the arches. It is just absolutely incredible. And yes, there's been a bit of sort of carving and defacing against the wall. You can see some random people that probably come in here and carve their names on here. But the fact is that compared to other buildings in this part of Orchha, this is probably one of the best preserved buildings. And one thing I've also realized is that it is a very massive building. The courtyard inside, I mean, this is the front courtyard. It's one of the courtyards here. There's another courtyard in the back where the government minister also could go and relax. So there's a lot of space in here. It's a very, very spacious place, and he was one of the higher members of the nobility. I mean, he's the minister to the Maharaja. So obviously he had really, really nice, luxurious housing in service to his country. It's an incredible place, and I just can't believe I'm the only one here. Like, I know, I've heard Orchha is fantastic. I just don't understand why more people aren't coming. I mean, look at places like this. This is why you come to India. This beautiful architecture, this sort of old faded structures. The history is incredible. I mean, this stuff was built in the 1500s and it's still standing around. And there's not a single person here. You can see that they've literally covered this entire door up with cement, probably to prevent vandals and thieves from coming in to steal things. But if you look on the very top, you can see the beautiful elephant carvings, the beautiful side carvings. It's just such a shame that they've had to do this to protect it for the good of the structure as a whole, because people would just want to come in and loot it as soon as they could. And just like that, we are back in the hustle and bustle of Orchha, away from the quiet forts and nature and trees and kotis that have been abandoned for hundreds of years. Now, it's just vendors after vendors after vendors trying to sell you everything under the sun. It's a really big contrast actually, but it means that Orchha has everything. You can have a hustle and bustle of a typical Indian city, but at the same time, you can escape from it all and enjoy nature and some abandoned buildings just right across the other side of that river. One thing that I find really interesting is that, I think I might have mentioned this, but Orchha is in the state of Madhya Pradesh, which is a state that we haven't really visited. But it's also so close to the border that you're going to find cars here that are both from Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. So for example, this one right here starts with an MP. That tells you it's Madhya Pradesh. But that one right there is UP. In fact, actually, I didn't get into the train station here in Orchha because Orchha is actually a pretty small town. The way I came into Orchha was to go into the train station in Jhansi, which is actually in Uttar Pradesh. So right on the border between the two, but you're gonna see here in the car plates that some of them are gonna be Madhya Pradesh, some of them are gonna be Uttar Pradesh, simply because it's so close to the border between the two states. After having been in India for a few weeks now, this is just a typical day here in India. Traffic, yelling, screaming. I'm used to it all. So strolling through the old town, I just saw this really interesting old building, and it's called the Ancient Goshala. And I didn't really know what an ancient Goshala is until I came in and realized there's nothing much to it. But what is an actual Goshala? Well, apparently a Goshala is like a holy shelter for cows. Remember, here in India, cows are like God. They are holy. They are supposed to be given the free reign to move wherever they want, and even the traffic is not supposed to stop them. So this would have been a shelter for the sort of stray cows that were coming here. It's a very small shelter, but actually you can see on the other side there's a little bit more area. But this, again, is an ancient structure. It's the ancient Goshala. It is an extremely old structure built in the same times as those forts and those mahals and the kotis that we have seen on the other side of the river. It's a small little stop, but to be honest, out from the outside, it looks like this interesting, curious, intriguing little place that I just had to come down and see for myself. So that's why I came all the way here.
People and banyan trees?
Banyan tree?
Yes, both. Both.
Ye banyan tree hai?
This.
Okay. This is banyan tree.
Round leaves. This is banyan trees, and this is heart shape is people.
Apparently, right behind this structure is a really nice banyan tree. Very interesting. It is very nice. Did not expect to find a banyan tree here in Orchha, but the locals kept telling me to go in, see the tree, so seeing the tree is what we've done. Welcome to the sunset point here in Orchha. This is a little bridge that literally connects two sides of the Betwa River. Remember, the Betwa River is the river on which Orchha was founded. The founders of Orchha wanted to situate their capital right along the Betwa River, and you can see the massive Betwa River right behind me. It is a beautiful place, and the locals have all come out here on this evening to come out and enjoy the incredible view. Now the thing about this river is that it is actually pretty fast moving. I mean, just look at that water. See how fast the water is flowing. That's something I realized about the rivers in India. They seem like they're big and expansive, but in reality, they are very fast moving bodies of water, and you can literally see how fast the water is moving. It literally creates like tiny little whirlpools around the rocks that we're currently standing on. But this is sunset here in Orchha. We're not getting the best sunset. The clouds, as you can see, are sort of blocking out the sun, but nonetheless, it is an incredible place, and a place where even the locals have come out to enjoy the beautiful sunset of Orchha. I have to say this is probably one of my favorite sunset spots in all of India. The sun literally sets right behind those ancient structures, which we're gonna check out tomorrow. And not only that, but those structures light up in the night. I mean, you can see that they're lit up now, and they light up in the evening time to produce one of the most beautiful scenes ever. I cannot believe this is Orchha. I mean, look at that. Look at that incredible view right behind me. This is what makes this place so special. This is what makes Orchha one of the true hidden gems of India. Alright, we are kind of in a rush right now because there is one more thing I want to catch today, and I don't know exactly when this happens, but we need to go and actually go and catch it. So we're going to be running a little bit, but we're going to catch an Arti, which is a traditional religious ceremony here in the evenings that they do at temples. We're also going to take the chance to see one temple anyways, since we're already here in Orchha. So let's go ahead, let's see if we can catch it. I hope we're not going to be late, but we got to definitely start running now. Wow, that has got to be the most magnificent view I've ever seen. If I thought Orchha during the day was beautiful, Orchha during the night, when the lights like just light up all the old structures, it's beautiful. It has got to be one of the most beautiful things I've seen in my life. Right, this right behind me is the Sri Ram Raja Mandir. Mandir is the word for temple. And first off, I mean, look at that. I have no words to describe Orchha right now. But inside this temple going on right now is the Arti. You are allowed in, but unfortunately, you are not allowed in because cameras are prohibited, no filming is allowed. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna see how the Arti goes. I've heard great things about the Arti, it's supposed to be legendary, and I'll come back out and tell you guys how the Arti went. nice little statue, but then literally just going around and then that's it. Is it kind of having seen so many artis here in India at this point, I sort of got the gist of it. I sort of got an idea, so that kind of marks the end of that. But with that, that marks the end of our first day here in Orchha. I mean, look at that. That is why you come to Orchha. These magnificent buildings. And today, we've seen just the ones that are free. Everything I have done today, everything included in this video has been completely free. Nothing that I have shown you requires any payment of money. It's all completely free. So with that said, I mean, this is a pretty cool place. It's a pretty impressive place. And in the next video, I'm going to be showing you what you can get if you pay to see in Orchha. The forts, the massive sort of structures that are a part of Orcha's history. So there's not a lot more coming from India. Orchha is easily becoming one of my favorite places. That river today during sunset, it's just impressive. So with that, I'm going to leave you here from the city of Orchha. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos here from the beautiful country of India. I will see you all on the next one. Bye guys.